Doña the Lights. Welcome to my daily Twitch stream. If you're catching the stream here live on Twitch, thank you for being here. Thank you for watching. Please feel free to drop your thoughts, opinions, ideas in the chat and be a part of the conversation. If you're catching this replay on YouTube, please subscribe to my YouTube channel. It's an easy, free, and wonderful way to support my channel. In addition, I would definitely appreciate if you left some comments down below to share your thoughts, your favorite part of the video, something you disagreed with, anything at all, as well as giving this video a thumbs up like. Today we're going to be discussing the 8 limbs of yoga and the role of yoga in my healing journey. So I'm going to pull up an article real quick to bring up the 8 limbs of yoga. Now I mentioned in a previous stream, one of my chatters, Raylene, was asking about the 8 limbs of yoga. I said I was completely unaware that there were 8 limbs because all we typically focus on is what we see physically as a physical yoga practice. Fergie's here. Oh, I just remembered I gotta move my chat because it is not in the right spot. Welcome in, Fergie. I wonder if I can change that. Let's see. Sweet. Good morning, Fergie. How you feeling, boo? Boo Boo Bear? So, yeah, Raylene was asking about the 8 limbs of yoga, and I really learned about the 8 limbs of yoga when I did my yoga teacher training, which was in like 2021. I'm feeling all right. How are you? I'm feeling pretty good. I decided not to make my coffee this morning because we're probably going to go to my brother-in-law's house, and we pretty much always get coffee when we go anywhere. That's my excuse to get Starbucks. It's just literally just being outside of the house. Oh, I got to go to the grocery store? I might as well get some Starbucks. Oh, I got to go literally do anything outside of my house? I might as well go to Starbucks. So I'm going to get some later. Plus, I don't typically ever drink it during stream because it's too hot. Like, my little insulated cup does a really, really great job of keeping keeping my coffee hot. And I don't like to leave the top off because sometimes there's a little gnat flying around the land in your coffee. I'd be big mad. Shaka's here too. Good morning, Shaka baby. How are you feeling, beloved? All right. I mean, we could totally get into, if y'all are interested, we can get into the philosophy of yoga. Patanjali wrote the Yoga Sutras, and we read some of it during my yoga teacher training, and it was wonderful. Oh, good morning, Schnick and Pops. You got a fresh diaper on? Huh? Oh my goodness, look at that face. Huh?
She does.
Look at that face. Come here, Schnick and Pops. So we don't pull all Daddy's hair out because we like Daddy's hair. We like Daddy's hair. Yay. It's the baby. Say good morning, everyone. Ooh, that's a good yawn. Oh my goodness. Ooh. Oh my goodness. Ooh. Oh, it's serious. What happened? He's like, I don't want to be in front of the camera. You're probably hungry. Okay, hold on over there. Little baby. Ooh, it's the fight. How was TJ's birthday? I'm sorry I missed it. Been so busy preparing for today. Oh, you're fine, babe. So we celebrated his birthday on Saturday the 16th? No, Saturday the 17th. The little baby sniffles get me every time. I know, right? We celebrated his birthday on Saturday the 17th. Yesterday was just his actual birthday. Because his birthday is so close to Christmas, my hope was that if I invited his friends a week before, that they would actually be able to attend. So he's with his granny. He baked his own birthday cake yesterday, a chocolate funfetti cake, or I think it was a funfetti cake with chocolate frosting and sprinkles. He was super stoked about that. So yeah, he's doing wonderful. That little dude is definitely surrounded by tons of people that love him, which makes me really, really happy. Anywho, the Yoga Sutras of Patanjali refers to the 8 limbs of yoga, each of which offers guidance on how to live a meaningful and purposeful life. Funfetti is iconic, I know, right? Learn about each one and how to incorporate them into your practice. Now, keep in mind that on the East, or on the continent of India, yoga is learned in the home. Like, you learn yoga from your parents. You don't have to go to a class. You don't have to pay for anything. Remember that here in the U.S., everything is involved in capitalism. Everything. So yoga is not some inaccessible type thing, and it's also not exercise based. Like, that's not the purpose of yoga. I mean, it isn't for anyone really. Well, it shouldn't be, but that's how the West kind of pushes it, because our standard of beauty, etc., etc. So yeah. All right, the word yoga means to connect, unite, or yoke. The thing we look to connect to is a true self, also known as the divine essence or ultimate self, or Atman. You might also think of this as the soul. If this way of thinking doesn't resonate with you, then consider that the word yoga can also mean separation or disentanglement. The thing we're disentangling from is whatever stops us from feeling free, as the ultimate goal of any yoga practice is to attain moksha, meaning liberation or freedom. And oh my goodness, when I tell you. So how does one go about attaining this freedom through yoga? Does it come at a cost of an expensive pair of yoga pants? No. Can you reach it by signing up for a detox retreat or finally touching your toes? Probably not, and it's definitely a no. According to Patanjali's Yoga Sutras, there is an eightfold path leading to liberation, known as the Ashtanga Yoga system, or the 8 limbs of yoga. And Ashtanga means 8. Oh, the word Ashta means 8, and Anga means limb. There you go. So Ashtanga is 8 limb. What are the 8 limbs of yoga? 1 is yama, which is restraints, moral disciplines, or moral vows. 2 is niyama, positive duties or observances. 3 is asana, which is postures, which is what 95% of yoga is based on here in the West. 4 is pranayama, which is breathing techniques. 5 is pratyahara, which is sense withdrawal. 6 is dharana, focus, concentration. 7 is dhyana, meditative absorption. 8 is samadhi, which is bliss or enlightenment. So let's talk about all of them, because we got some good info here. Little baby crusty nose. The yama, number 1 is yama, restraints, moral disciplines, or moral vows. Oh my goodness. Oh, it's serious. Little baby. Okay. Yeah, you gonna make it? I sure hope so. Yeah, you're gonna make it. Alright, the first limb, yama, refers to vows, disciplines, or practices that are primarily concerned with the world around us and our interaction with it. While the practice of yoga can indeed increase physical strength and flexibility and aid in calming the mind, what's the point if we're still rigid, weak, and stressed out in our day-to-day life? Raylene is here. Hi, Raylene. This stream is for you. Welcome in. How are you feeling today? How has your day been? Because it's definitely like into your day. So the 5 yamas are ahimsa, which is nonviolence. Ahimsa, which is nonviolence. Satya, which is truthfulness. Asteya, which is non-stealing. You gotta let it out, buddy. Brahmacharya, which is the right use of energy, and aparigraha, non-greed or non-hoarding. Yoga is a practice of transforming and benefiting every aspect of life, not just the 60 minutes spent on rubber mat. If we can learn to be kind, truthful, and use our energy in a worthwhile way, we will not only benefit ourselves with our practice, but everything and everyone around us. Raylene says, ooh, it's been a damn day. I'm just trying to vibe and chill on my own. How's everyone here? I feel you, Raylene. I feel you. My day is just getting started, and so far it's been good. I appreciate you for wanting to learn more about this topic, because it's reigniting my passion for yoga. I don't know if y'all have ever heard anyone say, how do you practice yoga off the mat? But essentially the other 7 limbs are what they're referring to, but the other 7 limbs are what they're referring to when they say, yoga off the mat, or do you practice yoga off the mat? In BKS Iyengar's translation of the Yoga Sutras, Light on the Yoga Sutras, I love that. I love that this is called the translation of the sutras and not just like another version. It reminds me of the Bible. Let's be honest, every version of the Bible needs to be called a translation, because translation means that there is some room for error and that certain things are just not quite translatable. Anywho, he explains that yamas are unconditioned by time, class, and place, meaning no matter who we are, where we come from, or how much yoga we've practiced, we can all aim to instill the yamas within us. The second Yoga Sutra is Niyama, which is positive duties or observances. The second limb, Niyama, usually refers to duties directed towards ourselves, but can also be considered with our actions towards the outside world. The prefix ni in Sanskrit is a Sanskrit verb which means inward or within, and there are also 5 niyamas. Saucha, which is cleanliness. Santosha, which is contentment. Tapas, which is discipline or burning desire, or conversely, burning of desire. Svadhyaya, self-study or self-reflection and study of spiritual texts. And Isvarapranidhaha, surrender to a higher power. Niyamas are traditionally practiced by those who wish to travel further along the yogic path and are intended to build character. Interestingly, the niyamas are closely related to the koshas, or sheaths or layers leading from physical body to the essence within. As you'll notice, when we work with the niyamas from Saucha to Isvarapranidhana, we are guided from the grossest aspects of ourselves to the truths deep within. Where are you going, little baby? You're melting. Where are you going? Where are you going? Huh? I just want to know. Look at all them boogers. Asana is posture. The physical aspect of yoga is the 3rd step on the path to freedom. And if we're being honest, the word asana here doesn't refer to the ability to perform a handstand or an aesthetically impressive back bend. It means seat, specifically the seat you would take for the practice of meditation. The only alignment instruction Patanjali gives for this asana is Sthira Sukham Asanam. The posture should be steady and comfortable. While traditional texts like the Hatha Yoga Pradipika list many postures such as Padmasana, which is lotus pose, and Virasana, which is hero pose, suitable for meditation, this text also tells us that the most important posture is in fact Sthira Sukhasana, meaning a posture the practitioner can hold comfortably and motionless. The idea is to be able to sit in comfort so we're not pulled by the aches and pains of the body or restlessness due to an uncomfortable position. Perhaps this is something to consider in your next yoga class if you always tend to choose the advanced posture offered rather than the one your body is able to attain. And how many poses are we really comfortable and steady? Limb number 4 is pranayama, which is breathing techniques. The word prana refers to energy or life source. It can be used to describe the very essence that keeps us alive, as well as the energy in the universe around us. Prana also often describes the breath, and by working with the way we breathe, we affect the mind in a very real way. What is the first bucket? Hey, I see that little booger. Oh. Let me get it. It's falling out. I know. But it's so large. The breathing techniques are so good, aren't they? Aren't they though? Ugh, I love me a good breathing practice. Okay. Quote, perhaps one of the most fascinating things about pranayama is the fact that it can mean two totally different things, which may lead us in two totally different directions at this point on the path to freedom. Pranayama can be understood as either pranayama, which would mean breath control or breath restraint, or it could be understood as pranayama, which would translate as freedom of breath, breath expansion, or breath liberation. The physical act of working with different breathing techniques alters the mind in a myriad of ways. We can choose calming practices like Chandra Badan, moon-piercing breath, or more stimulating techniques such as Kapalabhati, shining skull cleansing breath. I have wanted to learn how to do yoga for some time now. Oh. All you had to do was say so, Fergie. I got you. You let me know what time, and I will do a stream teaching. It'll be like an IRL stream. I'll have to use my phone, which will be fine. But I'd be happy to teach you how to practice yoga. How did your yoga go the other day, Doña? It went well. That first day, it went really well. I was totally vibing out on my mat for like 15 or 20 minutes. And like I mentioned, even DJ was like, Mommy, go do exercise. And I was like trying to tend to the baby a little bit. And it's funny that you should ask, because my aunt asked me the other day, she said, what is something that you do that brings you the most peace, the most joy? And instantly I said my yoga practice. I said, especially if I take off my glasses, woo! Because take off my glasses means complete freedom. It means I don't have to be concerned about, where I'm placing my head, how I'm moving my body, because I don't have to worry about knocking my glasses off. And I'm so comfortable on my mat now and just in my yoga flow period that I don't really have to see where I am on my mat, because, a yoga mat is only so large. Like, it doesn't matter if I roll onto the carpet or, end up completely off my mat. The purpose for me is the focus on my breath and moving my body in a way that focuses on relieving the aches and pains of my joints and muscles. That's really what I'm doing. And I was really consistent for a little while. And then life got to lifing. And yeah. LOL, I like that. I need to feel the freedom. Absolutely. It's deeply freeing if you allow it to be. Unfortunately, as I mentioned before, here on the West, we make yoga very aesthetically driven, or the focus is on like getting into the most difficult posture, when in reality it's about comfort and stability and being steady. That'll be so nice without glasses. I find it hard since I'm still a beginner and need to continue to watch a video. Yes, so what I found, which maybe this is a sign that I need to create more yoga videos. When I did my yoga teacher training, our teacher was very, very adamant on being extremely clear with your cues. She said that someone should not have to watch you to be guided by your video, or like you as a teacher, because essentially she encouraged us to, to do classes in which we did like donation-based classes, because we hadn't finished our training yet. But she said, I really want y'all to practice cueing people, have the most perfect cueing, where people know exactly what to do and where to move their body and how to move their body and where to send their breath and where to send their focus and where to send their energy without even seeing you. Because in a real life yoga class, the instructor is walking around. They're not actually practicing the postures. They're walking around and ensuring that people are aligned. They're paying attention to people's breath, etc., etc. Raylene says, watching a video on your phone with glasses on in a pose where you're facing backwards. Right, exactly. Fergie says, yeah, I've tried a class before and they were like, you need to try to do the hardest poses. And if you aren't doing it, then you aren't doing it right. Oh, that's trash. That's super trash. Raylene says, that's so true. The cues in the video are sometimes hard to pick up on. Exactly. So that's something that I believe that we as yoga teachers need to practice more diligently. And the only way that we can do that is to actually teach people, right? So Raylene says, yes, that's terrible, Fergie. So let's say that the three of us hop on a, what's it called? Like a Google Meet meeting. And I'm sitting down, because this is the best way for me to do this. I'm sitting down and I am watching y'all on my screen, right? And I start off with, we begin on our backs. I'm instructing you to breathe, and then I begin instructing you to move. The only way that I can tell whether or not my cues are effective is by watching you interpret them. I have to watch the way that you move while I'm cueing, right? But if I myself am over there on my mat practicing, then I can't see whether or not my cues are being picked up on or not, right? I've seen a few people here on Twitch teach yoga, and typically what they're doing is they are moving through a flow and they're cueing while they're moving, because obviously they can't see anyone who's following their practice, but and that's just typically how people do it on YouTube as well, because you want to have at least some sort of visual feedback, especially if it's a new posture or etc. But I mean, you could always begin the yoga video with the postures that you're going to be moving through. If it's something that's a little bit off, like maybe camel or like a half moon or whatever, like you could begin the video with, hey, today's video, these are going to be the 2 postures or 3 postures that we work our way up to. Let me show you what half moon looks like. Let me show you what, blah, 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 blah. So that once we get there, I can tell you, what foot we're standing on, where you should be rotating your hips, blah, blah, blah. But yeah, essentially you should be able to follow a video of someone teaching yoga without being able to see them. And there's nothing wrong with, if I were teaching a class in person or even on Zoom or Google Meet or something like that, if I were teaching a class virtually and I see that there's one posture that people are just not catching, there's nothing wrong with me stepping back and illustrating the posture. But to do that the entire class means, again, that I would be taking away from actually watching my students, which my whole goal as a yoga teacher is to watch y'all, ensure that you're remaining safe, and ensure that, if I see someone struggling with their breathing or something like that, then maybe I cue them or remind them to take a break or what have you. My goal is to watch my students in a virtual class or an in-person class. That's definitely my role as a teacher, because I'm going to be able to recognize an unsafe movement before my student would. This goes on to say, right, so pranayama could mean breath control or breath restraint, or it could be understood as pranayama, which would translate as freedom of breath, breath expansion, or breath liberation. The physical act of working with different breathing techniques alters the mind in a myriad of ways. We can choose I read all that. Oopsie. Raylene says, I think it's because I teach myself dance through YouTube too and have to pay close attention to visual cues. So with yoga only using voice is the opposite, I guess. I totally understand what you're saying, Raylene, and I think it's awesome that you teach yourself dance through YouTube. But I also feel like dance teachers should do the same thing, right? I understand that dance is different, especially in the way of its connection to the music and the beats that it's, kind of flowing with. Yoga doesn't flow with, music or a beat or anything like that. It flows with your breath. But, that's not traditionally, it definitely could, but it's not something that happens often. But that's something I'll work on. Yeah. And I would love to. I have one video where I teach a sun salutation. I haven't really watched it. And there's something that, we can do as yoga teachers. We can close our eyes and listen to our videos. And we should be able to know exactly what we're instructing the person to do just by listening. So each way of our breathing will change our state of being. But it's up to us as to whether we perceive that as controlling the way we feel, or freeing ourselves from the habitual way our mind may usually be. Kairuru. Baby snorts. Little baby snorts. Your little hands. Okay. Pratyahara is the fifth limb, and it means withdraw, draw in, or draw back. Pratya means withdraw, draw in, or draw back. And the second part, ahara, refers to anything we take in by ourselves, such as various sights, sounds, and smells. Our senses take in continuously. When sitting for a formal meditation practice, this is likely to be the first thing we do when we think we're meditating. We focus on drawing in. The practice of drawing inward may include focusing on the way we're breathing, so this limb would relate directly to the practice of pranayama too. The phrase sense withdrawal could conjure up images of the ability to actually switch our senses off through concentration, which is why this aspect of the practice is often misunderstood. Instead of actually losing the ability to hear and smell, to see and feel, the practice of pratyahara changes our state of mind so that we become so absorbed in what we're focusing on that the things outside of ourselves no longer bother us, and we're able to meditate without becoming easily distracted. Experienced practitioners may be able to translate pratyahara into everyday life, being so concentrating and present to the moment at hand that things like sensations and sounds don't really distract the mind. Raylene says, wow, I didn't know meditation was a part of yoga. Makes sense why the yoga was always the best after meditating. Absolutely. And I like to do a little meditation before yoga and after yoga. It's chef's kiss, seriously. It really, really is. Okay. Limb number 6 is dharana, which is focus concentration. Dharana means focus concentration. Da means holding or maintaining, and ana means other or something else. Closely linked to the previous two limbs, dharana and pratyahara are essential parts of the same aspect. In order to draw our senses in, we must focus and concentrate intently. Tratak, which is candle gazing, wonderful practice. Visualization and focusing on the breath are all practice of dharana. And it's this stage many of us get to when we think we're meditating. Dhyana, which is meditative absorption, is the seventh limb. The seventh limb is meditative absorption. When we become completely absorbed in this focus of our meditation, and this is when we're really meditating. All the things we may learn in a class, online, or from a teacher are merely techniques offered to teach each person in order to help them settle, focus, and concentrate. The actual practice of meditation is definitely not something we can actively do. Rather, it describes the spontaneous action of something that happens as a result of everything else. Essentially, if you aren't really meditating, essentially, if you're really meditating, you won't have the thought, oh, I'm meditating. Sound familiar? And then limb number 8 is samadhi, which is bliss or enlightenment. Many of us know the word samadhi as meaning bliss or enlightenment, and this is the final step of the journey of Patanjali's Yoga Sutras. After we've reorganized our relationships with the outside world and our inner world, we come to the finale of bliss. When we look at the word samadhi, though, we find out that enlightenment or realization does not refer to floating away on a cloud in a state of happiness and ecstasy. Breaking the world in half, we see that this final stage is made up of two words, sama, meaning same, or equal, and di, meaning to see. There's a reason it's called realization, and it's because reaching samadhi is not about escapism, floating away, or being abundantly joyful. It's about realizing the very life that lies in front of us. The ability to see equally and without disturbance from the mind, without our experience being conditioned by likes, dislikes, or habits, without a need to judge or become attached to any particular aspect, that is bliss. Just as theologian Meister Eckhart used the word istitiate to mean isness, as referring to the pure knowledge of seeing and realizing just what is, this stage is not about attaching to happiness or sensation of bliss, but instead it's about seeing life and reality for exactly what it is, without our thoughts, emotions, likes, dislikes, pleasure, and pain fluctuating and governing it. Really said, not the floating away on a cloud. Not necessarily a state of feeling or being, or a fixed way of thinking, just pure I amness. There's just one catch though. Samadhi isn't a permanent state. Patanjali's Yoga Sutras importantly tell us that unless we are completely ready, without impressions such as attachment, aversion, desires, and habit, and with a completely pure mind, we will not be able to maintain the state of samadhi for long. Once the mind is pure and we truly do experience a state of samadhi, we can keep hold of, we attain moksha, also known as mukti, meaning a permanent state of being liberated, released, and free. And then immediately after that is asking you to pay for the 8 Limbs of Yoga guided program. Love it. Okay. So those are the 8 limbs. And I really appreciated the mention towards the end about pleasure and pain, because there's a part of us that connects joy. No, it's joy or peace. That connects those types of things with pleasure. And as long as we connect peace with pleasure, we will never be able to actually have peace, because pleasure is something that we are constantly chasing after. We can never have enough of it, right? It's almost like an addiction. So similar to the explanation of samadhi and, I amness, the state of being completely free and accepting where we are, who we are, accepting the life that we have been given, that is peace and bliss. Ricky says, yeah, I totally agree. I appreciate you. So I want to transition over into discussing, how yoga has aided me in my healing journey. And of course, if you're in the chat and you have some questions, just, drop them in the chat about any of the links. Oh, really quickly, let me put the link to this article in the chat. Oopsie, so that if anyone is interested in doing more reading on their own, because there's lots of links and more information within this article, which I thought was really awesome. Anywho, yoga and my yoga journey, or my healing journey. So I've mentioned a few times that I did a yoga teacher training, and I didn't necessarily do the yoga teacher training for the purpose of wanting to teach yoga. I did the yoga teacher training because I wanted to learn more about yoga in its entirety. When I first began practicing yoga, or when I first began showing off yoga asanas, it was like 2013, and I was very, very, very hyper-focused on, let me see if I can show y'all as I'm talking about this. I was hyper-focused on how I looked. That was really all that was important to me, was how my yoga practice looked. Can I see my archived posts? Change password, log in. I don't think I can. Real estate tag. Yeah, I don't think I can see my own. Oh, wait, can I? Saved. No. Settings. No. Excuse me. Explore home. Yeah, I can't see my I can't see my archive posts. I have to show you. Ooh. Which I might be able to do so really quickly on my phone. Is bring up some of my old yoga posts. But anywho, excuse me. That's all I was concerned about, because when I looked up yoga, I mean, even when I found people who look like me, black people who are practicing yoga, black women, black men who are practicing yoga, all I could see was the physical practice, and in all fairness, there would be times in which they emphasized other limbs of their yoga practice, but I didn't know what they were. Like, there'd be times that they would discuss meditation, or they would discuss breathing exercises, or they would discuss the yamas and niyamas, but I didn't know what those things were, so all I could do was fixate on the physical practice. And I deeply believed that I was superior to some people because I was flexible, because I gained flexibility through the practice of yoga. And as I mentioned before, I was extremely unsafe when I was practicing. I would be on Instagram and I would be scrolling through posts and I would see like someone saying, oh, stop, drop, and yoga. Or I would see, some monthly yoga challenge where you do a posture a day. And I would stop what I was doing and just do the posture. Rarely, if ever, did I actually warm up. Rarely, if ever, did I actually have a flow to accompany that. My only goal was to recreate this posture and look as closely as I could to whoever it was that was posting it. And there were some yoga practitioners that I followed that were practicing pretty advanced postures, and I would always try them. And I actually pulled a muscle at one point practicing a yoga pose because I didn't warm up. Like I mentioned, I didn't warm up. I didn't prepare my body for the movement at all. And I'm looking through all these archive posts, and I did a lot of yoga. I mean, I took a lot of photos of me in yoga postures. That's what I should say. I took a lot of photos of myself in postures because I wasn't really practicing yoga. I mean, there was certain aspects of this, like after I had DJ, in which I was practicing yoga, but it wasn't to the point that I should have been. You know what I mean? Like I was completely ignorant, and I can absolutely say that. I was completely ignorant, and I did nothing about it. I didn't look into yoga to see if there was more to it. In my mind, it really didn't matter, and I was very, very ego-driven in that way. Raylene said, that's so relatable with trying to do the hard poses. I would do the same without practice, but with dance, and twisted something in my hip and had to be in crutches for a few days, right? We end up being, how have you healed from that, by the way? Have you given your body space and time to completely heal, or did you kind of rush it, or, how are you feeling? We tend to be very ego-driven because culture around us, I still don't practice. I don't dance as hard anymore. Raylene! We tend to be just very fixated on the end result and also the things that we can show off. There is no way that I can show an image of inner work that I'm doing, but I can talk about it. I can talk about it. I can have conversations. I can share thoughts that I had previously that I don't have anymore. I could absolutely do all of those things, but that would require me to be a little bit deeper, Raylene said, yes, I gave it time. How was it with your pulled muscle? Did anything change after that? Girl, no. My pulled muscle was awful. it was so weird. I mean, I was basically limping. I think I pulled one of my hamstring muscles, because your quadricep muscles and your hamstring muscles are groups of muscles. So I believe we have 4 or 5 hamstring muscles and we have 4 quadricep muscles on the top of our thighs. And I didn't slow down. I mean, I had to work around it because I was literally forced to, because there were certain things that I just physically couldn't do because my leg hurt too much. I think it was my left leg, my left hamstring. One of the hamstrings in my left leg. But it was a lot. I like taking screenshots of these because the date is included. I want to go all the way back to when I was first starting. But yeah, it's really easy. Like, I mean, I'm still scrolling. There's so many photos on here. And literally all the posts that I archived were yoga posts. Like, I felt like I had to kind of like once I started posting yoga pictures, I felt like I had to kind of continue and like make yoga my thing, which I really liked it. Well, I liked the comments that I would get, I liked the way that people would talk to me about it, the fact that they felt like I was some sort of pro because of the fact that I could get in these postures. That made me feel good. It was like affirming somehow, even though I knew nothing. The funniest thing to me is looking at these photos and realizing that I took all of these photos without a tripod. I was always using like a rock or a shoe to hold up my phone. But one thing that remained true is I would always record myself and then screenshot. The only benefit of that was the fact that I had to kind of hold the posture for a moment in order to do that. Raylene said, I remember thinking it's crazy how I could have just avoided this with a 5-minute cool warm-up and maybe a 5-minute cool down. Exactly. The funniest thing is, in all of my experience going to the gym, I would never work out without warming up. Never, ever, ever. But when it came to yoga, I don't know. Something in my mind was like, nah, you can do it. Just do it. It's fine. You'll be fine. And honestly, it was probably because I hadn't had any consequences of not warming up. But even after I pulled that muscle, I still didn't learn. I did not learn. I just kept doing whatever my mind told me that I should continue doing because I'm getting recognized. People are noticing that I'm practicing yoga. Oh my goodness, these filters are insane. Okay, here we go. Now we're getting to the very start. Okay, I believe. Raylene said, did you do yoga at home? That could be why, because maybe no one else is warming up. Yeah, I did do yoga at home. I did yoga everywhere. I did yoga at the gym. I did yoga at home. I did yoga at the park. I would randomly just pop into postures. Okay, this was probably my very first time. I look so wobbly. Let me show y'all my very first. Oh, this makes me cringe. Fergie says, yeah, I didn't know you have to warm up for yoga. See, I'm learning a lot. I mean, anything in which you have to move your body, it would be good for you to warm up. Typically when I wonder if I could, I used to have another YouTube channel for this brand I was building called Coco Queen's Fitness. And I had about like 5 to 7 yoga videos on there in which I taught different flows. Alright, I'm going to show y'all these real quick. Let me pull up something more recent as well. But yeah, it's good to warm up your body for anything that, and typically when it comes to warming up your body, I mean to the point of what I read to y'all about the purpose being able to be seated, comfortably in a posture. Warming up helps you prepare your body for movement. That's really all it does. It helps to prepare your body for movement. And we don't do that often enough. We really don't. I mean, it even helps to mentally prepare you. I'm trying to find a recent post that I'm not. Oh, I guess it doesn't matter. In my bathing suit. But it don't matter. Alright, so let me show y'all how my practice kind of transformed. I mean, and mentally, it took a while. Oh, actually, let me see if I can find photos around the time that I did my yoga teacher training. But yeah, anything that you should warm up before you go walking. You know what I mean? Even if it's just something really simple, like stretching your feet or like rolling your ankles. You know what I mean? Like any activity that you do that you know you're going to do for a little while. I mean, even if you're just like walking in the mall, you should prepare your joints and prepare your muscles with some sort of warm up. It's really good for you. And like I mentioned, mentally, the mental aspect of warming up kind of helps you get into the frame of mind of, okay, I'm ready to move. You know, I believe also that warming up helps you bring more attention to your body, so that if you do something, or if you pull something, or if you move in a way that doesn't feel good, you can recognize it because your body is warm, so there's a little more awareness. I feel like I should warm up before going to work. Yeah, absolutely. And you could always you could also like physically warming up your body, like taking a hot shower or a hot bath, also totally works. It's not necessarily just about moving to warm up your body. Let me see if I can find. Okay, this is 2019. When did I do my yoga teacher training? My goodness. It was probably. Let me see. I have to look at my house. Then I was in the gym for a while. Let me see. It's probably around this time, but I was doing a lot more gym stuff. Oopsie. But this is a good transition. Raylene says, but don't beat yourself up too hard, because it's understandable why you would want to do hard poses or things for your ego. The good thing is that now you realize what you should do now, and that is enough. Absolutely, and I appreciate that, Raylene. I appreciate you reminding me, not to be too hard on myself. I would say that my yoga practice really transformed and became very healing after my yoga teacher training. After I was allowed to be in a space that was completely safe, where we were all just being vulnerable and being open and all of these things, I didn't upload it. It really allowed me to kind of drop the front and just be the person that I needed to be, to show up for people. And something that my yoga teacher trainer shared with us was that people are out here being really unsafe. People are out here being really unsafe with yoga, and so for us to be yoga teachers means that we are here to keep people safe. This is how I do yoga. Kaji says, yoga helps me when I do kickboxing. Absolutely. And good morning, Kaji. Welcome in. Okay, real quick, let me show y'all some photos of my yoga practice. Where's it at? All right. We're gonna get into it. All right. So this photo is from 2014. Kelly Crocodile says, I like yoga. I have to get used to doing it as a routine, though. Well, yeah. This photo is from 2014, and if y'all look at my spine, I should not be in headstand. It's just there's so much wrong with this. It makes me so sad. No. Long story short, I was trying to practice a posture that I was not properly taught how to do. This is all ego. All ego. Next we have, I would say, the quote-unquote height of my yoga career. Right, looks dangerous. This was, I think, 2019. I can't see the date because my camera's in the way. Let me pull it back up on my phone real quick. Oops. this photo was 2015. So just 2 years later, y'all can see how small, quote unquote, my wheel is, like how close my hands are to my feet. That's what made me feel like I was really doing something, because my wheel was getting smaller and smaller and smaller. Now, mind you, the benefit of me continuing to do these postures was that, my body was becoming accustomed to them. My joints and ligaments and muscles were becoming accustomed. But like I mentioned, I wasn't practicing safely. Next, we have 2020, which was after my yoga teacher training, and I wasn't necessarily trying to do like too much. And I still have this yoga mat. It's my favorite yoga mat. I was just practicing, and in this photo, I actually was flowing, even though this is just a snapshot. I was legitimately flowing, and I was moving, and I was listening to music, and I was enjoying my practice. I was breathing and all of these wonderful things. So yeah, but again, I'm safe. And then this last photo is, let me kind of zoom in a little bit, is 2020. My ex and I went to Hawaii, and you can just see, this is me not practicing. I had been walking around for a while, but see how like big my wheel is? And there was no problem. Like, I didn't get into this posture thinking, oh my goodness, I really need to, like get as small as I possibly can because that'll give the best photo. No, I wanted to hop into a wheel because it was really glorious out there where we were. And yeah. Wait, what? Looks dangerous. The year of Grover. Yes, the year of Grover. Sus. What sus? I'm so confused. But anywho, I really wish that I know that I have notes and everything in a notebook from my yoga teacher training. The difference in you being comfortable with your poses, right? Like, primarily my focus was, I need to do this with like the highest level of intensity possible because that's what people will praise me on, right? Whereas I transitioned into, after my yoga teacher training, just doing it just to do it. And I wonder if I could, let's see. I'm trying to remember the email address I used because I might be able to, it'd be in my drive. I'll figure that out later. I feel like yoga is looked at so different here. It makes a lot of people do it for a fad or for fitting in. Exactly. And as I mentioned earlier, babe, when it's just a way of living. Exactly. And that's what the 8 limbs really encompasses, is the fact that yoga is a way of life. It is to be incorporated with every aspect of your life. It's not to promote exercise. Will your body physically change? Absolutely. But that's not the purpose. The beautiful thing about yoga and the fact that it does help your body to change is if you can keep your focus on how it helps you transform mentally, I mean, the difference in your body becomes completely secondary. You know what I mean? I mean, just think about it as a person who is, or try to think about it as a perspective of someone who is overweight. To be overweight in America is to be a villain. You are a terrible person. You probably have a bad personality. Maybe you smell. Like, all of these things attack your character just because of the weight of your body. But someone who is overweight, if they were to learn and practice all 8 limbs of yoga, imagine how freeing it would be for them to not be weighed down by the expectations and the beliefs of the people around them. And that's really what my yoga teacher training taught me, and how it was, what's the word? Really, really, what's the word? It was necessary. It was absolutely necessary. I know that it happened for a reason. I know that, I ended up in that yoga teacher training for a very, very specific reason. Good morning, Spuddy Boo Boo. How are you feeling today? Thank you for being here. Blah blam. Morning, baby love. I know for a fact that completing that yoga teacher training was supposed to happen. I was supposed to complete that training, and like I mentioned before, not for the purpose of being able to teach yoga. However, I am a natural teacher. It's a part of my identity. It's a part of my personality. I am a teacher in all aspects of the word. I love to watch people grow. I love to support people in moving from one point to another. That's one of the primary reasons why I'm a life coach, is because I love to teach. And I love to teach in a way that supports the person themselves. I have no problem adjusting my teaching in order to suit the individual, and not just teaching in a way that's supposed to be really broad and just everyone is supposed to accept it. When my yoga teacher said that our primary goal as yoga teachers is to keep people safe in their practice, I felt that. Because often what we see is a very ego-driven yoga practice, asana practice, because it's not a yoga practice, it's an asana practice. You are a natural teacher in general love. Thank you, Spuddy Boo. I appreciate you. And this asana practice is driven by what we can get people to do. Can I get this person to do this posture? Even if they only hold it for a millisecond, can I just get them to do that? Because then I, as a teacher, feel accomplished because I got them to do that posture. No. Raylene says, I feel that with being a teacher all the way through. She is indeed. Thank you, y'all. I appreciate y'all. I watched the YouTube you did because my back was hurting so bad. Really? How did you feel afterwards, buddy? I know that I can still share the other videos that I've created, but I need to make more. I need to just make more. And what I probably need to do, which will be a little bit tougher, but it'll definitely be possible. Your voice. Jumping back into yoga videos, not jumping. What I probably need to do is record a few flows and then do voiceovers. Not that emo. And do voiceovers, because often my struggle is being able to be heard clearly while I'm doing the video, which if I could, I used to have a microphone and it was really awesome, but my current cell phone doesn't have an auxiliary jack, so I can't use the. Spidey said, I felt great after. I love that emo. I love that emo. I'm so glad to hear it. I really, really am. Yeah, as of right now, I only have one yoga video on this YouTube channel. I don't have access to the other ones anymore. I mean, I have access to them, but I don't have access to that channel anymore because I had paid for the branded email address and I didn't pay for it anymore. So it's just like, I can't access that YouTube channel. But I still have access to those videos. I probably should just remake them. Yeah. But yeah, I need to go back to my notes and refer back to the way that my teacher taught us to teach yoga and just do it. Because as long as the baby's sleeping, I can do a voiceover. As long as he is sleeping or as long as he's occupied, I can do a voiceover. So yeah, y'all have encouraged me. I will do so. I will do a few more yoga videos. Slowly but surely, The beautiful thing about doing those things separately, because often my struggle is, I'm practicing yoga, but, DJ has a question or he's asking me to do something or he's just talking, period. So if I can focus on just doing the flow and then add in the voiceover afterwards, it'll be a lot easier. So yes, thank y'all for the push. I appreciate y'all. But yeah, my yoga teacher training really pushed me to focus on myself as a teacher and the fact that I am a teacher and kind of honing in on those skills. I'm going to be the camera guy. You absolutely will be. We can do one today. We could do one right after I eat some food. Eat some food. Anywho. Right, you better. It allowed me to really focus on my desire to want to teach people to practice yoga. And again, not necessarily for the monetary aspect of it, but just to teach people because I know how to practice. Raylene says, I have a question though. As you have done so much of the full parts of yoga, 8 limbs, did you also find that you had to be spiritual? Just wondered, as it seems through social media, that people who benefit the most from yoga also happen to be spiritual, but do you think this is necessary? I don't believe that you have to be spiritual, but I do believe that you have to be open, because to me, spirituality means, yeah, exactly. Explain what you feel being spiritual means. To me, spirituality means that you understand that everything around us is interconnected. Our bodies are connected to our minds are connected to our souls. We are connected to all living things and living beings around ourselves because we share a spirit. To me, that's spirituality. I find that people sometimes demonize yoga because they say that Christianity is against it or some other junk. They believe that in order to practice asanas, you have to, convert to a different religion. Yoga practice in its entirety, all 8 limbs, have nothing to do with religion at all. Or not. I mean, just like my husband mentioned, it's a regular daily thing that you just learn on the East. It's not something that is, again, sold to you or whatever. And the fact that asanas are named using Sanskrit words doesn't mean anything. It would be the same. I mean, Sanskrit is a language. It'd be the same thing if they were written or, named in Spanish and then we translated them into English. It's the same thing. But because we fear people on the East because of the difference in, our perspective, and the way that we live life, people often kind of shy away from an asana practice because of that, and the 8 limbs in their entirety. But I mean, if you read through that article that I was reading through, and the link is above in the chat, you can see that it doesn't mention anything in regards to religion. Raylene says, I'm not really sure. From what I've seen, it's kind of like a religion of its own. I know it's not one, but again, from the small parts of it I've seen, there's like a higher power, which is believing everything is connected, etc., etc. So in what I shared with y'all earlier, there's no mention of a higher power. The mention is the focus is on you by yourself. There's no mention of a higher power. There's no mention of, trying to communicate with that being or entity or whatever. The focus is you yourself and improving your thoughts, freeing yourself, because in doing so, you support those around you and you support your community, but it has nothing to do with believing there's a higher power or anything like that. Yoga is a living cycle, mostly a way of living. Living by the yogas and practicing the physical practice are slightly different. Yes, exactly. And that's what I mentioned as far as practicing yoga off the mat is actually putting the 8 limbs of yoga in practice, not just asanas, which is physical postures. Oh, I see. I think I understand now. I got you. And if you have more questions, of course, feel free to ask. I appreciate you asking, because I think it's important for people to, kind of go with what they understand to be true and, dig in and see, how does that make you feel? How does that impact you? You know what I mean? Because just think of meditation. Nothing about meditation is spiritual. It is, to me, it's doing something honorable for yourself, because you benefit from being able to focus and concentrate. Like, you will be able to do whatever it is that you love to do or enjoy doing in your life better if you meditate, because your self-awareness is increased. A true spiritual doesn't need to claim it. Yeah, that's true. But yeah, those different aspects are really what help to put some fire under my healing journey and really emphasize to me that a lot of things that I was doing were very ego-driven, and I was doing them for the purpose of the approval of others, for the praise of others, and lots of other things, and I didn't need to continue that. The physical and spiritual realms are no different. This is all the same energy. Absolutely. Absolutely. Excuse me. I have more water. A little bit. Anywho, my loves, I'm getting very hungry. So I will be wrapping up this video. But I appreciate you all for being here. If you popped in later, let me drop this in the chat one more time. As far as the article that I was reading, that is based on, I know who I'm gonna read into. Okay, cool beans. So yes, that is the article that I was reading regarding the aliens of yoga. If you haven't done so already, please make sure that you... Oh, no. Did I not make that correctly? Is it not YT? Oh, my Cloudbot isn't even on. Hold on, y'all. Cloudbot be tripping. I just realized that none of my commands or timers have been popping up. What a wonderful talk. Thank you, Raylene. I appreciate you. Yeah, Cloudbot just be randomly turning off. Oh, I know why. I think I know why. Because I don't know if I have to do anything since I changed my username. Let me see. Can y'all? Nope. Okay, let me just copy and paste some stuff real quick. If y'all haven't done so already, Oh, thank you. If y'all haven't done so already, please subscribe to my YouTube channel. Good morning, Jonesy. Welcome in. I gotta fix my Cloudbot. And if you are interested in coaching with me, feel free to schedule a call with me. I hope everyone has a happy holidays or celebrated, or good luck with getting through if you need it. I appreciate that, Raylene. I appreciate you all for being here. We are going to raid my friend Donald. Let me make sure I get his screen name right. Okay, cool. Yeah, we making a new holiday. All right, my loves. Let me make sure this is correct because I feel like I spelled it wrong. Hey, y'all, I overslept. I hope everybody's good. We are good, love. It's all good. It's no worries at all. Okay, cool. All right, my loves. I love you so much. Thank you so much for being here. And the baby backhanded me. Yes, it is, Jones. It's super, super cold. Again, if you're catching this live stream on Twitch, thank you for being here. Thank you for contributing to the chat. Thank you for enriching the conversation. These conversations are so much better with y'all here. If you're catching the replay on YouTube, please subscribe. I also need to have a disclosure in the beginning of my videos that my videos are like podcasts. Just put them on in the background, let them play. Visually, ain't nothing happening. Y'all do not have to watch these videos. Just let them play. And also, for everyone here, play some of my videos in the background because I need more watched hours so that I can begin to monetize here on YouTube. So I love you all. We are going to raid into Donald. Yes, I appreciate all of you for continuing and staying on this raid. I'm looking forward to being in his channel. Ooh, is it this one? And I will see you all tomorrow for a wonderful conversation. I love you all, and I'll see you tomorrow.